Someone created the idea that I'm the father of modern marketing, and I was at least happy they didn't say of marketing, because marketing started at the beginning of the 1900s, and I wasn't there. But whether it's a legend or not, I continue to be amazed by marketing and its progress. In other words, if I were really studying just geometry, I would be tired of teaching it because it doesn't change over 2,000 years. Marketing is a subject where we keep learning new things about what works. As the world changes, we have to revise our theories of marketing. So I'm eternally excited about the field, and that's why my book did what no other book did. It's in the 15th edition. My favorite book was the book on economics by Paul Samuelson, and he had to quit at the 10th edition. So I keep with my subject. I'm basically an economist applying economic and psychological ideas to how buyers behave and make their choices. You know, it started with the idea of the digital revolution and social media being brand new in marketing and absolutely revolutionary. And so when I wrote my book, Marketing 4.0, it spent its time not on all new technologies, but particularly the digital world. 5.0 is in process now, and we already have a contract for it, and it will deal with the new technologies, and I'll mention some of them, that are going to help us increase humanity, improve humanity. Example, virtual reality. We don't make that much use of it, but if you talk to the medical profession, they're already into virtual reality to train their students, where they can almost go into someone's stomach and just see so many new aspects without cutting someone up. We're in the age called the age of the internet, which really means that our lives will be under surveillance by sensors in so many areas, such that when we walk toward our home, the door will probably either open or unclick because it recognizes me, not anyone else. We know that we may be wearing clothes with temperature control, so if it's very hot, it will cool me off. But beyond temperature control, it would be recognizing my EKG or my health in general. Maybe my watch is already doing that. So what are these new technologies that will come along? Are we going to have electric cars, and how will that change the world? Are we going to have flying taxis? Or actually, will people have a motor on their back, leave their house, fly right up, hopefully miss a collision? So the future world will change. I'm not even mentioning robots. Having a butler who gets the newspaper and cooks the food and so on, or a spouse. I heard recently of marriages between a man and a robot woman, or the reverse, because robots are being designed now to be kind of real. And animals too. There's a lot of senior citizens in Japan who are lonely, and now they can have a robot cat and pet it, and the cat will meow under different circumstances. So the book will be Marketing 5.0 to deal with the new technologies. Well, whenever we mention marketing, we have to go back to Peter Drucker, who was the father of management, but the grandfather of marketing. And he said, don't be good only at marketing, which is about existing products being marketed. Be good at innovation as well. And you you should be a never-stop innovator if possible, and at least know how to market the innovation. So I want students to study whatever goes into good marketing and good innovation. For example, good marketing means a good, not only an economic science, but a training in what we call social science in general, which takes into account anthropology, sociology, social psychology. And then innovation involves collaborative work with other people to take an idea into fruition. And the skill set there is described in a book I wrote called Winning at Marketing, Winning at Innovation. And it says that your company ought to have 6 roles being played if you're going to be an innovator. You should have someone who is always coming up with ideas. If no one in the company ever gets new ideas, then innovation never starts. But every idea should be researched by another person to see if it's already existing so it can't go any further. If it hasn't been existed before, let's realize we found something new, so turn it over to a creative person to develop it as a product idea that is tested with consumers. And if that's a positive result, now turn it over to the development people who will produce it in quantity through building a factory. And then turn it over to the marketing people who are trained to market the idea. And the 6th row is to have a financial guy, because a lot of steps took a lot of money. So again, the future student should be interested not just in marketing, but marketing and innovation. It's 70 books. Some joker recently said, I think that most of his books was the same book written in different contexts. And I don't blame him for saying that. But a number of the books are for specialized uses or applications of marketing. For example, I have the leading book on marketing for hospitals and healthcare. It's called Marketing for Healthcare Organizations. I have the leading book on museums and the management, but also the marketing of museums to get more visitors. I have a leading book on the theater arts and how to fill the streets, the seats when you're marketing a theatrical production. And so a number of books are like that, but there's also some books on maybe pricing better, positioning better. So it is true that most of the 70 books, let's say at least 60 of them, are applications of marketing to different professions and so on. The other recent books, I've been very interested in the following. Is capitalism working for people, or is it failing to raise standards of living for most people? Is there a racket going on where it's only serving rich people and making them richer? So I wrote a book called Confronting Capitalism in 2015. Then I realized that the reason there's a corruption in capitalism or an ineptness is due to the democracy is changing. Namely, there's so much concentration of wealth that the people with money are choosing who we vote for. And therefore, if someone gets elected because he was chosen to run and paid for the election by this donor, is he going to be independent about judging policies, or is he going to make sure not to step on the toes of someone who financed his election? Mm-hmm. So I think elections are being now corrupted by money, and the corporations are giving a lot of that money. So that led to another book called Democracy in Decline. That was 2016. And now I finally came out with what's behind it all. Are we serving the common good? So the book is called it is not answering, it is something the common good. And it deals with what is the common good, how do you measure it, how do we move toward using capitalism, using democracy, using marketing to make people's lives better. Because the common good is always about, does this contribute more good to more people in the world, or is it just something that is awarding a few people? I hope not. I hope he is indicted. We're talking about a very dishonest man who lying is very easy to do, who is egotistical and self-centered, and who is using his position in business-like, improving. He and his daughter and son-in-law are making a lot of money through their hotels and so on, and people trying to be near him. And he is a corrupt personality. Now, he does have a backing of 40% of the population, which he periodically goes back to give a pep speech. And they seem to be Trumpites in spite of all this.